All right, this is my Notorious, the movie, not like Notorious like my thing. Notorious, the movie, like write up, reading a movie, I'm writing, talking, whatever. I just want to say to start off, I really liked and like enjoyed watching something like this because it really shows how hard it was to produce these kind of movies back before we had computers with fantastic video editing software. Because a lot of these things they have to do with the camera, and you can't. And it'd be like you want to fade to black, you literally have to have like a black screen and slowly like dissolve. Like you couldn't, or they do it like frame by frame, but it didn't. It's just compared to nowadays, I just click fade to black like in video editing, and it's like you don't realize how much time it took. Or if they wanted to pan, hell, if I have a wide shot, I can pan through the shot if I really want to, and just a still wide shot. But like in this, you want to pan, you actually have to pan, which most of the time still happens, but that was a bad example. But here, just go ahead and the movie's gonna start rolling, and I mean you can hear my commentary along with it, and I'm just kind of talking through the movie, talking about like what I liked, what I really thought was cool, and then just from my video like production side that I have experience in, like what I really enjoyed looking at and watching, and what really kind of inspired me from a video standpoint. The first I really want to notice is just like right there at the beginning, you have those two fades. First to the car, and then to like them sitting in the car, and then like you quickly go, you change into that, like in my video job we call it still shot. Forget what the one of the other videos called it, but I mean it's a great shot that can, it's just good at showing movement. I remember in one of the videos I watched, it was top 20 something something, and it's they used Star Wars used it a lot with like flying things, and it's mainly used to show like motion, and I mean they just did a pretty decent job of it here. But then they fade to the car scene where they're sitting in the car, and then there's a moving background. Now, in case people didn't really know this, they don't, most 95% of the time they don't actually go like drive a car. In modern movie, lately in the last probably like 5-6 years, they've actually started doing that more and more, just because it looks a lot better. Like you can definitely tell in the video that there's just like a rolling screen behind them, and that they're basically just sitting in a car with a fan in front of them and just like turning a steering wheel. I made like a steering wheel motion, and you can't see that, but whatever. And for a 1940s movie, though, it actually came out really well because, like this one, I mean, you can still just by looking at like depth of field and like depth perception. I mean, everything in the background is really fuzzy, and like, but it's everything is the same like fuzz. That's the biggest thing I noticed, is that everything is the same like fuzz. Like that's it, which means it's out of focus, but it's not like differently out of focus, which is how it would really be, to where the trees that are closer would be more in focus than the clouds in the background because there's a different distance away. You do what you can, and working in video, I really understand that because I mean we have a lot, and I have a lot more than just the average person does, but we don't have nearly as much as say a professional video company, or hell even like just a bigger school that's put more money into it, because the video team's only been around for 3 years, and I mean I've only been there for the last 2 semesters, and I mean, if we were had to make a video, we probably couldn't even do this. We have a green screen, but it'd be about the same thing. But this was the rolling background was the original green screen. They were kind of getting there, but it was just we didn't have computers to go put a green screen on, and like they were trying to figure out a way to do it, but it's just that you had to do this. Like, and like an example is like Weatherman. I mean, nobody ever remembers like a 70s weatherman because like most of us weren't around then. Well, maybe the professors were. Shh, I didn't say that. But like, I would also like to point out right there, we just had a fade to black, and there was a follow the action shot, which I really love. I really love follow the action because it was just kind of like going back to the struggle because it adds to the chaos. But going back to what I was saying about like the weatherman thing is that like if you look at like the movie Anchorman, when Brick stands in front of the weather thing, it's not a green screen, it's an actual like map of the United States with a sun like drawn on where it's sunny and like warm, and that's kind of what they had to do in like these movies just because it wasn't available to them yet. But then the follow the action shot that was just there was a really great piece because it really we do this a lot with what I do because following sports, and this is what sports is you follow But the hard parts about it is you have to follow, not to make it seem like you know what's going on, but you also have to make it seem like there is action. And then right there we had a close focus on the lady, and this is just a standard just tilt with a rotation. And nowadays you can do this with your video editing software, and you literally can take it and you can just click on your screen and just like wee and rotate it. But the difficulties is with a shot like this in a movie like this, you can't do that. You literally had to stand there and hold the camera and just rotate it. So there were a lot of very difficult things done in this movie, especially for their time, like things nowadays that would take me all of 5 seconds to do after I shot it. But in this, you actually have to stand and rotate the camera, which is a lot harder to do than you think it is. But overall, there were a lot of really cool things in this movie, and I really just kind of enjoyed like picking up on all that. Just because I've been paying attention to video for so long, well, not so long, for like a year. I always try to pick up on those things now that I've been working in it, and it's just cool looking at this and seeing all these things and being like, wow, I know what that is, or wow, I've done that. Like, it's just really cool to see like it actually used in an actual movie that actually was made by somebody famous and was an actual like, and just know that these concepts are like real. So it was just really intriguing to me, and I just kind of enjoyed watching it and providing my 2 cents.